that I have gained by using this Google Classroom with all of you. So the last year was a real roller coaster, I guess, for everyone, and especially so for teachers. So all the way from talking about, uh, reduced interaction, reduced time on virtual media, we were forced to take our children to a place where they are constantly online. Our connection with the children was tested in a big way, I would say. So definitely, I first of all, before I even start, I would like to give from my end a big round of applause for all the teachers of our country and those of you who are here, definitely, for the beautiful way in which you have all adapted and come taken it in your stride, come forward with the thought of the children and their learning in mind. So my own children I see and all the people around them. So a big thank you to all of you. With that, I would like to start today's session. So I have been using Google Classroom for quite some time now for a variety of purposes, both for children as well as teacher education. So that way I found that this is a very handy tool for all the teachers, whether you are in a virtual class or a physical class. So hopefully this virtual, complete only virtual class will end sometime soon. We are hoping. And some of the states have already opened up schools for the higher classes. So hopefully in some time we will go back to the physical class. So does that mean that this is no longer relevant? Absolutely not. So Google Classroom is a tool which will help you a lot, both in a virtual as well as physical class. So let us just, before we start to go on to exploring it, I want to just give you an introduction to it. So I would like to share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Teacher, do let us know if you are able to see the ma'am screen. Yes, ma'am, they can see.
Okay. Okay. So before we go on, I would like you to share in the chat, what do you do in a classroom? What do you do in a typical classroom? What are the functions that you perform? When we say Google Classroom, the first thing that comes to our mind is something like a classroom, right? So I would like you to put in the chat, and if you want, even unmute yourself and tell us what is it that you would generally do in a classroom. Interact with the students. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Motivate them, have discussions. Information, motivate, very important. Information, very true. Sorry about that. Okay. Emotional attachment, very nice. Learning activities, okay. Encouragement. Learning activities. Develop creativity, okay, take attendance, absolutely. Take attendance, develop creativity, okay. Polish the skills, yes. Quiz, okay, discussions, yeah, it's already there, yeah. Field trips, competitions, yeah, field trips, okay, okay, many more. Revision, yes, very true. Revision, group activities, yes. Assessments, absolutely. Yes, great. So now we have so many things that we do in a classroom. Now, I can't claim that Google Classroom can do all of this, but yes, what we can do in a Google Classroom is share lessons, information with the students, with a set of students, admit students to the class, or based on different sections. If you have different sections, have divide the students, admit the students to your class and remove them from your class, give out assignments. Once you give out assignments, get back the assignments, allow the students to submit the assignments, grade the assignments, basically see all the information in one place. So Google Classroom, you can imagine it to be a kind, something that is between you as a teacher and the student, and creating an ease of communication between you as a teacher and the student. How Google Classroom will help is what we are going to see today. In fact, today we are going to see the first basics of how we can use a Google Classroom. We will definitely have upcoming sessions where we can investigate them and explore them in greater detail. But if you put it in a nutshell, if you want to put it in a nutshell, what are the key things that a Google Classroom can do? Is one, share information, share knowledge, share lesson plan, create a lesson plan, give out assignments, assessment, take back assessment, grade them, and student admission. So it is in a way a small learning, a low level, I will say, learning management system. So learning management systems are used by different universities in different scales. There are many paid, highly evolved learning management systems, but Google Classroom is a learning management system which has sufficient features so that any teacher can just pick it up and use it. So it is so easy to use. It is, of course, open source. It is part of your, anyone who has a Gmail account has access to Google Classroom. We don't need any additional software to be installed. You don't need any, you don't have to go through any evaluation version. And it's not one of those where you say, oh, you take the evaluation version, you'll get only these features, and the standard version, if you pay, you get more features. There are no hidden costs. It is as clear as there out there. It is there for you to use. All you need to do is to create a Google account. So that, more than anything else, is the biggest advantage of Google Classroom. Plus, of course, it is backed by Google's robust backend. So you know that whatever you are, the same organization or the same infrastructure that you're trusting with your emails and so many other things is what is taking care of this. This is an app created by Google, and it is so easy to use that all it requires is a few hours of work to understand all its features. And once you understand all its features, it's just a snap to start using it for anyone. That's why Google Classroom as an LMS has suddenly seen a spurt, huge growth spurt last year, because pretty much most people have Google accounts, and so Google Classroom is available to them. Okay. Now moving on, this would be, we'll be going into that. This would be the kind of interface in a Google Classroom. So if you look at it, these are some of the classes that I have created. So if you once you access your Google Classroom app, you will see two types of classes. One is the class for which you are the teacher, and the second for which you are the student. So you can join the class as a student and as a teacher. Of course, your privileges will be different for each of these. They'll be different as a teacher and different as a student. Now, what when we said that the key things that you can do with Google Classroom is information assignment and student management. Information is, this is a sample screen, what you can see here. You can create a very clear lesson plan. So you can create, let us say you have 10 lessons that you want to go through this particular year. You can create a lesson plan with each of the 10 lessons with sub as topics, and under each lesson, what is it that you want to give the students and what is it that you want to have the students do. So this is just like any normal web page. It's very easy to use, very easy to find. Okay, so this is the one major feature that we are going to explore as to how do you add information into Google Classroom, and the other is, of course, how do you add people into Google Classroom. Okay, so in a nutshell, we are going to see what is a class in Google Classroom, how do you add students to the class, how do you add lessons and announcements, and how do you add assignments and grading. So now what I'm going to ask you to do, give me a minute. Yeah, now what I'm going to ask you to do is access, any questions till now before we go on to accessing Google Classroom?
No, ma'am, no questions yet. They were have a question like, can Google Classroom can be used on phone, iPhone, Mac, etc.
Yeah. So yeah, it can be used as any, it can be used both through your laptop or it can be used through your phone. If you're using it on your phone, whether it's iPhone or Android, there is an app which you'll have to download. The phone interface is also very user friendly and easy. It's very easy to use. Of course, as a teacher, if you want to create lessons and add lessons and create forms, quizzes, I would definitely recommend that it's easier to use on a tablet or at least or a laptop or at least a tablet, because the maneuverability that you get on the phone, how much you can use is slightly lesser. But as a student, if you want your students to access it, they can definitely do it on the phone. They can definitely do it on the phone, which is something that I am sure is very important for all of you. Okay, so I will take you through how to access Classroom, and then I see that someone say they're not able to access. You will need you can, for today, I will ask you all to access the Classroom through your personal account, right? If you have a Google Suite for Education, or if your school has a Google Suite for Education, they should give you, you should have, if you have access to that Google Suite, you will be able to access the Classroom through that account. But otherwise, for today, you can access it through your personal account. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am, we can
Okay.
move.
Yeah. So the first thing that you would need to do is, if you go to your browser, there are multiple ways to access Google Classroom. You can see this here. So you have, these are the set of apps which are available by default. So you have Classroom here. Sometimes it may be somewhere down below. If it is, you can just drag it up here. So if it's something that you use. So once you click on this, oh, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. Give me a minute. Yeah. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So here, if you go here, you have a set of apps that are available to you. So you can, this, I'm doing it on my personal account. So this is my personal Google Classroom account. So if you have, if you want to use your Google Classroom account associated with Google Suite, then you will have to get, you will have to have the credentials to access that account. If you're able to access that account, you'll be able to access Google Classroom also on that account. Yeah. So what I want you all to do is open either if you have if you're accessing it through a phone, please install the app. If you are accessing it through the laptop, go to the interface through the Google Apps page. And once you're done, I want you to show me a thumbs up if you are done on it and you're able to access the page.
Yes, ma'am. They done. They some teachers has told that.
Yeah. I would request all of you to do it.
Yeah.
If possible, that would be good because these are some things that you will be able to. It's something very simple, but it would be good that if yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm assuming that most of you have done it. Yeah. Okay. Now, once you access this, you see a plus here. So if you click on that, you will see that there are two options: join class and create class. So the first thing I'm going to do, join class, is when you need to join a class which is created by somebody else. Create class is when you're going to create your own class. Now, typically, you will be teaching multiple sections, right? So one class, when you create one class, you need to create one class for one set of students. But Google Classroom allows you to create a copy of that for multiple sections. So that is one thing which is very easy to do and easy to create. So you can have, let us say you teach mathematics to grade 7 or grade 8, where you have 3 to 4 sections. Then you can create a mathematics class for section A, mathematics class for section B, section C, each with its own set of students. This is very important when you are going to use assessments and assignments through Google Classroom. So right now, I'm going to ask you to click on create class. So you will say you read and understand the above notices. Yeah. So you can give a class name here. So I'm going to say to you can add a subject, room, and all that, which is all optional. So I'm going to say create. So now you have created a class, which I have created a class which says Introduction to Google Classroom, right? So here, if you go right here, you see the square. So this is a code which you need to give to your students to join the class, right? So you see here, there is a option, copy invite link. I'm going to click on that. I want you also to do that. So if possible, you can list a few of your, you can paste it into the chat, your link, and I want each of you to try to log into someone else's class. So whoever has created a class, please copy the link and put it into the chat, and the others can try to access that link. Now, what I have here is, this is the second account which I'm going to show you. So this is my primary account. So this is another Gmail account which I have. So I am going to go there and paste this link. So then it says join class. I am joining the class as a student. Yeah. So here you see to the left side of my screen, I have created a class. I am the teacher. And to the right side of my screen, I have joined the class as a student. Right? So if you go here, if you go to the top, you will see that there is a difference in the tabs which is available to me. As a teacher, I have classwork, I have people. Under people, you see there is a teacher and there is also a student, right? Let's see what is available as a student. I have classwork where I can only view my work. Whereas here, as a teacher, I have an option to create work. I can add different projects and assignments and materials to it. As a student, on the other hand, I can only view my work. I can only view what is assigned to me by my teacher. Then I am going to the people tab here. You see the teachers and the student. So here I see who my teacher is. If I go as a student, I can only see who my teacher is. Here I can see, I can add. I have an option to add a teacher, or I can add students here also. So there are two options to add students. One of them is send the link to them and ask them to join. Other one is if you want more closer control, you can specifically add a student. You can add any number of students to the class. So once you have done that, you will be able to see the teachers and the students if you have logged in as a teacher. On the other hand, a student can only see who their teacher is. Right? So far, clear? Any questions on this so far?
So, ma'am, teachers say on phone where they can find the link of invitation. Usually, ma'am is not able to find it.
Okay.
And
Let me
teacher,
just.
yeah, and say more question. If you have questions regarding the how to create a class and share invite, please do ask on the chat.
Yeah. I'm not able to see my chat. 1 minute. So what is the question, Anuj? The question is, where do I see the link to?
On phone, ma'am. If
On
a
the,
teacher using a
yeah.
phone where they can share the invite.
Okay, so I have my phone here. I don't have a screenshot, so I hope you will be, I will, 1 minute. I'll do one thing. I just stop sharing for a minute. Yeah. So I am, as you can see, there is an option to create class and join class, right? This is my phone, which is linked to my same email ID. I'm going to say create class. So I'm going to say some test class, right? And I'm going to say create, right? So I have created my class. So you can also share the link that if you want to send it to your students to just join the class, you can share that link through WhatsApp and they can just click on it to join the class on the phone. Okay? Yeah. So here, you go here. Yeah. So you can see the settings icon right on the top here. If you click on the settings icon, you see here an invitation link. You just scroll down, you'll be able to see the invitation link. Okay. So you just have to copy this. There is an option to share. So I can share the invitation link by WhatsApp or through whatever means. So there is a gear icon there on the top, which has the classroom settings. Yes, Rimjim ma'am, what is it? Please repeat. Where do we paste? Okay, I'll just show that again. So on the phone, you can just, there is a link and there is a share option, share icon right next to the link. You can click on the share icon and share it through whatever means. Whereas in the, if you're doing it on your system, you see, I'll just share my screen again. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. If you see here, there is this, there is a code which is displayed. Can you see that, Rinchiman? There's a code which is displayed. So if you click on that, the code is shown, right? So you can, below, right here below, there is an option, copy invite link. Once I copy that invite link, I can paste it into WhatsApp, I can paste it into an email, I can give it out through any means. I can send it out in a document, you can put it in a instructions document and send it out to them. Anyway, it is just like any other web link. Does that clarify?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now before I go further, what I want each of you to do is, I see that some of you have created, any of you created a classroom here?
Yes, teacher has created and they have shared the link too.
Okay, so I want you to just see if you are able to join each other's class. Just try to check if you're able to join, or if you're able to create a class and join another's class. Yeah. For example, I will copy this link and I will paste it here. So you can see if you already have a Google Classroom, no, Google Classroom is an app. So in that, each class is a separate class. It's like Google Classroom. You can look at it as your school. So each classroom is a separate class, right? So now if you want to join my class, you have to use this link, the link which I have pasted here. If you want to create a new class, right? It's like saying that each, let's say standard 7, as I said, has 3 sections. Now, just because in your you are in your school doesn't mean you are in standard 7, right? So it is just that each class is separate. It offers a system where a huge container where each class is represented as one entity. Yeah, let me see the people who have joined. Yeah, I can see Avinash Kaur has joined. So yeah, you have Google Classroom is fine, but you have to go there and create a class if you want to create a class. So each class, let's say one class for math, one class for math, one class for history, one class for English. You have to create a separate class for these. As you can see, I have so many classes in my Google Classroom. These are the classes which I use to teach. I teach where I am the teacher, right? So let's again go back to, that's good. Yeah, great. I'm glad that you're able to do it. Now, shall we go on to the next step if all of you are okay with it? Yeah, I'll just go on to the next step. So we saw one thing as to how to add people. Okay, as a class teacher, you teach English, math, science to one section. So you need to create a separate class for English, separate class for math, and separate class for the other subject. Because your assignments, your assessment, and your lesson will be different for each class, isn't it? The students may be the same, but you need to create separate classes for each of them. Okay. Okay. Wow. There's so many people have joined the class. Great. So I think that is clear. So now let us go on to the next basic step in Google Classroom. That is to create a lesson, right? Create a lesson or information. There are two things. One you can do is you can create a complete structured lesson plan. Lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4. If you are going to use it for that. Let's say you are teaching a virtual class where you have you so instead of saying that each time, okay, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, you can create the entire lesson plan itself in Google Classroom and then share it with your students. So once the students come in, you complete the lesson and they will be able to go there and check out what the lesson details are. Now, when you add information to Google Classroom, one of the best things about this particular app is that it is so seamlessly tied in with all the other Google Suite apps like Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheet, Google Form. You can add any number of YouTube videos. You can add PDFs. You can add your own videos. Yeah, you can upload from your system. 1 minute. As a student, how will I be able to see all the different classes I am attending of different teachers? Okay, so I will just come to that once I'm finished with adding material. I will just show you here itself how you will be able to do that. So let me just share my screen again. Yeah. So okay, let me first address that question itself. So then I have created a class called test here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this link and then go to my other account and join this class too. So I'm going to join this class. Now I have joined two classes, right? One was Introduction to Google Classroom and the other is test. So let us see how it is here. If I go here, I see two classes. One is test, one is Introduction to Google Classroom. I can go here and then I see that all the other, of course, now all your classmates, all the classmates are also here and the teacher. Here I can see a list of all my classes, all the classes to which I have joined as a student. I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Okay. Now let us go on to add a material to the Google Classroom. As I said, you can add anything. So I am just going to show an example. So if you click on create here, you can go ahead and do it if you have your Google Classroom open. There are different options like assignment, quiz assignment, question, material. So I'm going to first add a material and then an assignment. Two things I'm going to add. The first thing is a material. Material is any lesson or information or video that you want your students to see. For example, all NCRT lessons are available as PDFs online in the public domain. So let us say you want to share a link to that PDF. So the math lesson 1, you want to share that lesson 1 PDF. So what you can do is, for example, here I will just create, I'll say, uh, create class is my first lesson that I want to add. And if you go to, there are two options here, add and create, right? If you click on add, you can add any file, any video, any audio, any kind of file which is there either on your local system, on your machine, or on your education institution's Google Drive, right? Or on the public domain. When I say public domain, anywhere on the internet, right? So you can create a link, you can add a file from Google Drive, you can add a file, or you can add a YouTube link. For example, here I want to add a YouTube link. So I'm going to search here, how to use to search, and there is a video that I get, right? So I'm just going to add that, right? I can also add my own video, right? If you want, I can also create new lessons. I can create something new if it is not already there. So you can add a new lesson or you can create a new lesson. They both work the same. Then what is it for? This which class is it for? So I am going to say this is for introduction to Google Classroom and test. Now this is where, let us say you handle the same class for multiple sections. You don't have to create this separately for each section. You can just select all the classes that you are going to add it to. Okay. Then all students, I'm going to say it is for all students. Right now, I have not created a topic. A topic is like a lesson. You can create a lesson, and so that you have lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. For example, I will say a topic, lesson 1. Okay. Now that I have done that, I'm going to post it. Right? So if you see in my classwork, there is a lesson 1 where there is the first lesson that I have added, which is create class. Now I am going to go here as a student and go to the classwork. Here I see a lesson 1, create class. I can click on this and I can access the video as a student. It's as easy as that, right? You can add any number, any amount of information here as a teacher, and your students will be able to access it immediately. As soon as you add and post, they will be able to access it. Now, a question will come. Let's say you are in the process of preparing your lesson plan. You're not done yet. You don't want your students to access it immediately. You want them to see it only after you're done. In that case, what you need to do is you go here, edit class, and then deselect all the students. So unless you assign it to a student, they will not be able to see. The moment you assign it to a student, they'll be able to see. It's just like a one-step thing that you have. So you create a class, you add a material, and your students, if you assign it to students, they'll be able to see. Now, I am not going to do that, so I'm not going to save this. So I want all the students to access it, so I'm going to leave it at that. So this is as far as material is concerned, right? Information, any kind of information. So in any lesson that you do, as you all said, you have information and you have assignments. Now, how do we add an assignment? So let us just quickly look at that. In future classes, we will go further in detail as to how to create different types of assignments. For now, let us look at how to add an assignment. So I have said create assignments, and as you can see, it's quite similar, the interface, to what was there for material. So what is the assignment that I want to add here? Um, so steps to access Google Classroom is the title of my assignment. I want my students to see that video and come back to me with a file in which they type out what are the steps to access Google Classroom, right? So here I can give instructions. So typically instructions, this is where I give instructions like marking. What is the marking system? What are the steps that they should do? What are the things that they should keep in mind, right? If there is any special things that they reference, even any additional reference links, anything. If there is a rubric system, you can add rubrics here or you can put it here also. Now that you have done that, for which course is it? It is for Introduction to Google Classroom. Yeah, and it is available to all students. Here you can assign the points. So it can be out of 100 or it can be ungraded. Ungraded is an assignment where you're not going to grade. If you're going to grade it, you can see the grading in that tab. You can set a due date. So for example, here I will set a due date by 27th January. Right? What is the topic? Lesson 1. Right? So now you have set the framework for the assignment. The other thing now is to add the assignment. Now here, let us say I am just going to create a doc, Google Doc, where I am saying here steps to access. Now, here, this is very important where an assignment, this is where you are going to decide what the student is going to do with the assignment. If you want the student to just see the file, whatever you're giving, and submit it through some other way, you can add reference links here, right? If you want the student to edit the file, that means all the students are going to work on the same file. All the students are going to put their information on the same file. Many times that will not work for you. That will work only for collaborative assignments. In that case, you have to say, make a copy for each student. Once you say make a copy for each student will be able to access a separate copy of that assignment. And when they submit the assignment, you will get one Google Doc for each student. This is automatically taken care of by Google Classroom. How that they're able to access that file and everything. So now I'm going to do that and say assign. Okay, so now that it is assigned here, if you go to the classwork, you see that there is a assignment here. Yeah, and right here you can see steps to access Google Classroom has come in my student account also. You would have, whoever has joined my class will be able to see this assignment now in their classroom, right? So now you have a lesson and you have an assignment. Now let us see what happens when the student clicks on the assignment. So there's an option to view assignment which says there is a Google Docs which is created specially for me as a student. So I am going to say here, let's say I'm going to enter some details. Access the classroom. Then I will say um, join a, request for a code, request for the class code, join the class. Let us say these are the steps that I'm going to put in. Now here, that is it. That is all the student needs to do, and then he will come back here, right? I'll say view assignment. Okay. So they can give in private comments. So there's an option called turn in. So once I turn in my assignment, that is as a student. Once I turn in my assignment, right? Here, as a teacher, I can go to the student and see that see the assignment which she has turned in. He or she has turned in. Now I can access this. Yeah. So. One minute. Let me just do it once again. Okay, fair enough. So I have submitted it. I go, oh, this is test. I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong class. Yeah. So as a teacher, I am able to see the assignment that my student has submitted, and I can put a grade here, let's say 80 out of 100 or whatever it is. If I want, I can also put specific comments here. I also have an option to return to the learner. If I feel that this is not good enough, if I feel that there is something that, that more needs to be added, they have got it completely wrong, I can say, sorry or whatever, please add more. Okay? And if I post the comment and I return this assignment, it will go back to the student. So as a teacher, you can create an assignment and the student gets the assignment, the student sees the assignment, student completes the assignment, turns in the assignment, you can check it and you can tell the student whether what is right and what is wrong. So the complete loop, as you can see, is taken care of. Okay, so now I'm going to stop the share and ask you if you have any questions. Or if there were any questions, Anuj, that I didn't answer. Teachers, any questions?
Yes, ma'am. There are some questions. Oh, just a second, ma'am. Just a second, ma'am. So,
Sure.
So there's a one question. It's like, how can student post their assignments to the teacher privately? Example like test copies, etc.
Okay, so what the student posts, only the teacher will be able to see. Any assignment is private, right? The one student's assignment is not visible to anyone else. For example, here, let me go back here. So introduction to Google Classroom and people. So I had submitted the assignment. Let us say one of you, but any of you, none of you will be able to see the assignment that I have submitted. So it is something that only the teacher will be able to see. So if you are the teacher, you will be able to see everyone's assignments. If you are a student, you will be able to see only your assignment. 1 minute, let me see. Can we create an online assessment or test? Yes, absolutely. Google Forms, Google Classroom integration is one of the most common integration. If you go here and see, let's say, where is that assessment? Let's say I create an assignment. So if you see here, there is an option to add forms. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sharing my screen again. I'm forgetting. 1 minute. Yeah. Yeah. So if you see here, yeah. Yeah, if you see here, there is a forms option, right? So you can add a pre-existing form or you can create a new form. So Google Forms and Google Classroom, this one is one of the most frequently used because Google Forms, you can create any kind of assessment, right? Yeah. Can a G Suite email ID send invites? You should be, if you have access to the G Suite Classroom app, you should be, if that is, if you as a user, if you have access to it, you should be able to add a class, right? So for that, there is that in G Suite, they can create users and they can give them different permissions. So you have to make sure that you have a permission to add a classroom. Once you are able to do that, you will be able to send it to anybody. Yeah, it is. But yeah, I think in the G Suite, there is a restriction that it should be within the suite. The classroom students should be within the suite, if I'm not wrong. No, no, not really, not really. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So you can send, definitely you can send to non-G Suite email IDs also. I use Wise app now. What are the? I am not sure. I have not used the Wise app, so I can definitely check it out. And probably you can tell us what are the things that you are able to do, and we can see. We can do a comparison between them. Will the link work in Zoom if I give them a sum to do in the class? I'm sorry. Can you? Clarify that. I'm not very sure I got the question. Will the link work in Zoom if I give them a sum to do in the class?
So if I'm not wrong, ma'am is asking that the link which we have created for the classes, can it also work when it's shared on Zoom? So yeah, I think it can be work on Zoom, Team, Google Meet, wherever you want to show. It's just based on the link, and as ma'am shared, you need to make sure the link which has been shared must be accessible to student, and then student will be able to attempt the assignments or the activity you have provided.
Yeah, I shared the link today. No, I shared the link and many of you have joined the class. I shared it on Zoom only. So many of you were able to join my class, the demo class that I created today.
Yes, ma'am. You can move forward.
Yeah, so these were the things that I wanted to share with you. Anything else? So yeah, let us see the grades. Yeah, I'll just quickly show about the grades. Okay, so as you can see, the grades option is not available to the student. It is available only to the teacher. So once you have given the grades, once you have assigned the grades, you will be able to see the grades for each assignment like this in a table, right? And you will also be able to see the average. So it gives you a really bird's eye view of all the things, all the marks. Automatically it gives you a table with all the details, right? In this case, I have just given a grade only for me. So I have not given a grade for anyone else. So that is why it is showing only that. So once you have graded your students, you will get a bird's eye view of all the grades in the class. Can you rename the students in the Google Classroom? I don't think so because it depends on their Google account, right? So they are joining, you are sending a link to somebody and they are joining as a student. You will not be able to rename. I do not know if that is possible. Yeah. How to hide? Oh, sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, the student can the student see their own test paper which is checked by a teacher. If the student does not return, if the teacher does not return that, yes, they can see their test paper. Even if the teacher does not return that, definitely it is there on their drive, it is there on their system, but they will not be able to resubmit until the teacher returns. Let us say, no, sorry, they will be able to unsubmit until the teacher grades. If the teacher is already graded, they will not be able to unsubmit it. Right? So let us say the student has submitted an assignment and they feel that something more needs to be added. Until the teacher has graded it, they can unsubmit it. Once the teacher has taken that assignment, only when they return it, they will be able to work further on it. Yes. How to remove the students? Yeah. So there is an option to remove the students. You can select a specific student. 1 minute. 1 minute. So you can go here. You can see actions here. So there is an action to remove the student and email the student and mute the student, which is basically for the to prevent them from putting anything on the discussions. Yeah, what other questions are there? So is that clear that you can please explain how to check and give them grade? Okay, so let me take the same assignment since I have already returned it. 1 minute. Okay. So I go here, I go to my people, and then here I go to my student. Yeah. So I have submitted the assignment. So I can go and check the assignment. I have also given a comment on the assignment. Yeah, since I've already returned it, I'm not able to access it. So then what the student needs to do is, so they can go here, they can resubmit it. Since I have returned it, they can resubmit it. So they can make whatever changes they want and resubmit it. Turn in your work.
Hello, teachers. I think ma'am has just got disconnected. She will be connecting back just within a minute. In a meanwhile, I'll run our second poll, and the second poll is about how comfortable do you feel now with Google Classroom and how would you rate this session? I request all teachers to please do participate and let us know how comfortable you feel now with Google Classroom. Ma'am is just joining in a minute. She must have disconnected. She will join in a minute. Teacher, she has joined. Just give me a second while I'm drawing her. Ma'am, now you are able to share your screen and mute yourself. Hello, ma'am. Are you able to hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, unfortunately, my laptop is not powering on, so I have just joined through my phone. So I'll be able to answer any question. Any other questions you have?
Yes, ma'am. Let me share a few questions. Teachers, as we can see, you all have many questions, and there are some teachers who are asking about unmuting themselves. So what I can do, I am allowing teachers to unmute themselves. We can take one, two or three more questions, and then we can end our class. And teachers, the other question will be taken in the next class, where we are planning to conduct on a Google Classroom. So please do also wait for that, and we will surely answer as many as questions